right, welcome into this special edition of Belly Up Sound Off. We got obviously two familiar faces that you guys seen. Then we got one special guest with us. So we'll introduce Rattlesnake from Chairgate. He's kind of our I guess he is our official NASCAR podcast. Appreciate you being on. And then we got stuck one more night with Jared from the corner booth. So he'll be with us, and obviously our special guest tonight. We've been talking back and forth. She's been on before. Appreciate her giving us the time again. Former Monster Energy NASCAR, current model, host, actress, a little bit of everything. Candace Hardman. Candace, thanks for joining us tonight.
Thank you guys for having me.
So we usually what we do is kind of have a few topics. We just kind of go around and pick off those topics. And I know you last night posted something on your Instagram, kind of a Q&A for your fans to kind of chime in general, maybe ask you a few questions. So what we're going to do is kind of hit a few of those. We'll go around the room and kind of everybody can kind of answer. And then at the end, you guys, like I said, can plug whatever you want. There's really no special format one way or another. We're pretty lax. So we'll get right into it, which is you being a NASCAR background that you have. I know it doesn't mean that it's just going to be NASCAR followers that you get. So you got a lot of NBA questions. One of the first ones you had was, obviously the NBA season is just now kicking off, preseason anyway. So you had somebody ask, what would be your NBA Finals prediction? So do you want to start with that?
Yeah, we can start there. Yeah, most of the questions I got were NBA related, and I was kind of thrown off by that a little bit, but I was like, all right, let's go with it. Honestly, I think personally it's a little too soon to predict it. I think obviously with just preseason going on, I think we need to kind of wait at least until, next week's games start getting into play. Toronto versus New Orleans, Zion obviously is probably going to be like the NBA Rookie of the Year, and he's obviously going to do really well. So right off the bat, New Orleans is going to do great. But I've been reading a little bit, and in my opinion too, I think obviously you can never ever count out LeBron ever. So the LA Lakers are going to do well. I see the little eye. But yeah, the Clippers, I think, are going to do really good too. I mean, obviously they have Leonard, so they're going to be a favorite automatically right off the top. Now for like Eastern Conference, I was actually talking to someone about this, and they kind of threw me a curveball. I was talking to them about it. I was like, so we were talking about I'm going to one of the basketball games in the next couple weeks, and he was like, I really think the Celtics are going to do good this year. And so I was kind of looking into, I don't really see it happening, but you never know.
So, okay, I see you. You might as well just get right into Jared.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
All right, start the stopwatch.
First off,
I think
Candace, I understand why you think like LeBron, the Lakers. It makes sense. They got him, Anthony Davis. They have all these great names. But health is the biggest killer to any NBA season. And right off the bat, Anthony Davis has a thumb injury. And that is a horrible omen for this season. I'm also a big believer. Once LeBron lost D-Wade and Bosh, he got his one title where everything fell into place against the Warriors, and he got the title back to Cleveland. Yeah. But as everyone will ever tell you about me, I will always put Kobe ahead of him because I've never been a big believer of LeBron as an individual for the last 10 years. And unfortunately right now, they're not even the best team in his own city. When you look at the Clippers, you go down the list. You got PG, Kawhi Leonard, Patrick Beverley, Montrezl Harrell, and then you've got a deep bench that includes Lou Williams and a bunch of other players. And then you go in the East. You can't go against Giannis and the Bucks because you don't have Kawhi and the team of destiny anymore.
Yeah,
it's them rolling over everybody because the Sixers are going to have internal problems because Simmons and Embiid are going to be at each other's throats by probably Christmas. And the Celtics,
the Bucks are actually ranked number 1 right now, right?
Oh yeah, and the thing is, they only lost pieces that are replaceable, and that's why I kind of was like, I looked at the roster. I'm like, I still see them going these. I have the Clippers winning this whole thing and getting the first title to the Clippers, and it's going to be an interesting demographic now because you're going to see an LA team not named the Lakers win the title.
Yeah,
but I like the Bucks for the sense that Giannis is the best overall player in the league, maybe up there with Kawhi Leonard, and as much as I'd love to see the Celtics win because UConn's Kemba's a UConn guy, being a Connecticut boy myself, but it's just, they don't have enough firepower in their offense. They'll probably be a Final Four in the East kind of team, semifinal, but get knocked out by them or the Sixers. But to me, it's going to be Milwaukee or in LA Clippers.
I mean, I definitely think the Clippers are going to be down there at the end for sure.
That was the shortest rant I've ever heard from
him.
I think he must be saving it.
That was impressive that you kept it that short. You're missing the best team in the West, obviously, Houston. The Rockets are going to finally win a championship.
Oh, you mean the choke artist team?
You're pulling Houston because you...
do I got to pull a Reggie Miller right now?
Look.
Between Westbrook and Harden, are you kidding me?
That would be like me saying, so I'm a South Carolina girl. That'd be like me saying that the Hornets are going to win this year.
Yeah, but let's be real.
The Hornets aren't good.
I mean, look, Houston's been the best team for a long time, and they just choke, and this year they won't.
Well, you add another choke artist onto your roster, and you're expecting a different result. That's like the definition of insanity, dude.
Houston's just a championship city, so I'm just getting used to it.
No, your baseball team that's about it, though.
Rockets got 2 championships?
Yeah, when Olajuwon was their center. Dude, I wasn't even born yet.
You weren't born with a lot of things, man.
Yeah.
But no, literally, when I looked at this, I was kind of like Candace. Yeah, it's early, but I was like, I'm going to throw out a pick. I got at least the 76ers over the Bucks coming out of the East, and I do have the Rockets over the Clippers coming out of the West.
Let's go.
So when Rattlesnake said that, I was like, okay.
Yes.
So, yeah, I do. I was looking into it. So we'll see. But it's funny we're talking about the Rockets because this transitions into the next the whole NBA and China topic here. Obviously, have a sports company, a sports media based company, whatever. It's hard not to talk about this, especially with everything going on right now. So this is fitting because with everything that's going on with LeBron and his outspokenness, and now him saying, he doesn't want to talk about it anymore. This all stemmed from the Rockets organization, essentially from their top. And the thing about this is the Rockets are essentially, they're like one of the biggest overseas, or at least in China, based off of Yao Ming and stuff like that.
Yao Ming, basically. Why the biggest?
So real quick, if you've been living under a rock, everything that happened, I'll just read real quick what LeBron said here. And he kind of gave himself 2 black eyes, and it's been all over the news. It's been all over ESPN Sports Center. So he wrote, yes, we all do have freedom of speech, but at times there are ramifications for the negative that can happen when you're not thinking about others and you only think about yourself. I don't want to get in a word or sentence feud with Darren Morley, but I believe he wasn't educated on the situation at hand as he spoke, which is very almost in that situation, the pot calling the kettle black, I feel, because LeBron speaking out on Morey's comments, and up front, it looks like LeBron essentially has one of the biggest deals with Nike ever, which full steam, you're talking overseas and stuff like that. So and then he made the comment too in a different quote about financials and stuff like that. So what's your guys' take on this, Candace, the whole situation? I mean, I know it's not necessarily good, I guess, but I mean, how do you feel without getting into the whole politics, I guess, essentially of the thing, but, 2 different people speaking out with, a lot of power in the NBA?
Yeah. I mean, obviously it's never, ever good to mix, religion or politics at any dinner table. And that's kind of what happened here. And I mean, you have to go back to, yes, he made the tweet, and whether or not it's politically correct or whether or not you agree with him or don't agree with him, he does have freedom of speech. And I think I read something about they kicked some fans out of like a Washington game last week or something for chanting like free Hong Kong. And again, I think that, let him talk, let him say whatever he wants. Obviously, everyone knows China is communist, and what is bad about it, I guess, I'm not saying I agree or disagree. I mean, personally, I don't think the NBA should put, human rights over profit. Like the NBA obviously is just looking at dollar signs all around the board. You have 5 to 8 or 5 million people watching basketball. Like basketball is the biggest sport in China. And contrary to popular belief, it is. And more people in China watch the NBA finals every year than in America, right there in itself. And so, I mean, what Nike's looking at, obviously, they're going to lose a ton of money. Tencent just did a contract for like $1.5 billion to stream the NBA games over there. So all that's going to be cut. All that's going to be gone. So you're looking at salary caps for, the NBA next year. I think I read something that's like they're going to cut it like 14%. But I mean, they've had relations with China since the 70s. I think, honestly, it'll all eventually wash over in the end, just like everything else does. It's just big news right now. But I mean, China has the NBA right where they want them. They have them in their hand, just like putty, and they're going to bully the NBA to get what they want out of it. And it's going to be interesting to see how the NBA plays it out. They're kind of like, with their tail between their legs right now because they're freaking out, I'm sure. But I guess we'll see what happens.
Well, I'm just waiting for somebody to take the horn here.
Who next? I mean, I can take it. Unfortunately, I agree with you. I think it will just wash over, but I don't think it should. I think you need to expose the fact that China is communist and mistreats their people. I mean, they have human rights issues. Hong Kong right now is fighting for their freedom against a communist nation that's just essentially taking it, illegally. And so people are finally speaking up, which is great. And then because the NBA makes so much money, they're going to go against freedom of speech and all that just to, try to get more money. I don't think it should wash over. I think we need to address this. Like, pick and choose, man. Do you want to, kowtow to China and that be your market? That's fine. Then I think Americans need to stop watching it as much. Or are you going to, I'm not saying you have to pick and choose sides with Hong Kong, but if somebody wants to say, I support Hong Kong, they should be allowed to say it. So I think this is just absurd and it's sad, honestly.
I agree with you. I think that too. I think if, their fan base is so popular in China, well, why don't you take a stand yourself? Why don't the NBA be the bigger guy and be like, okay, you know what? We don't care about your money. You're treating your people really shitty. And, those are our fans and, we want to be there for them. I mean, they could turn it around and be the heroes at the end of the day. But I think right now they're just looking at, dollar signs.
Big time.
Honestly, it comes down to, it's really a concept of hypocrisy. Either it's LeBron or the NBA itself. And it's so funny to me because political affiliation aside, I tend to lean away from what LeBron says politically. Either way, what LeBron does, he has no problem criticizing anybody in our country or the people who don't agree with his political standpoint.
He's called the president a bum.
But the second it comes to his dollar signs, his money, same thing with the NBA, they shut their mouth. They shut up, they play their game, and they get out. And it's interesting to me. This is what the NBA has turned into, where it's a league that kowtows to money, and they're we're so woke. We're so about everything about improving culture and everything else. And yet a country that is notorious for human rights violations and is what Rattlesnake said before, illegally taking over Hong Kong, yet they're going to silence themselves for that because China threatened to take away their dollar bills. And to me, that's what it all comes down to. That's why you have both sides of the American politics coming together, condemning the NBA. And it's turned into this whole issue because the NBA has kind of just turned and run and curtail and taken off instead of staying the ground like a league like the NFL or the MLB would, when they'd be like, fine, we'll pull out. We don't care. We're not kowtowing to a country that violates human rights as bad as China does. I think that's why this has become such a huge issue. The NBA has shown how spineless they really are. And I've actually had friends who have met Adam Silver, and they've told me personally, like my buddy's a doorman in New York City, I guess at one of his favorite restaurants. And he told me, he's like, listen, this guy is very soft-spoken. He doesn't command a room. And I'm like, that kind of doesn't surprise me at all, the way he commands himself during these press conferences or during these issues.
I also don't think it's necessarily political. People keep saying, I don't want to get political. We don't need to talk about politics. It's like, it's really not. I think, a vast majority of people agree. Yeah. It has nothing to do with, our president, Democrats, Republicans. It's just China's a communist country that mistreats its citizens. And as Americans, we shouldn't be for that. We should be against that. It's that simple. I mean,
I
doesn't
wasn't
have to be
saying like
political
it's
at all.
something like where it divides politics. I'm saying like it's so big. It's an issue that's so like wrong and it's so like in front of everybody. It's pushed politics out of the way, which most issues in America have not. This has united everybody in condemning the NBA. So NBA, thank you very much. I appreciate that.
One thing the Democrats and Republicans, the Republicans can all agree on.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, hopefully.
something I never thought would be.
Yeah, you'd be surprised, but yes. But okay, moving on. I know we can talk about that forever. We'll get into some football action real quick, which is funny. This is we're talking about Jameis Winston's future with Tampa Bay. If there is a future, if there's not a future, backup plan. Do they draft a QB? You know, Jared, I was thinking about this. This would have been a good topic for Mark to be involved in with his boy, old Jameis here. But what do you guys think? Again, I'll start with Candace here. The future, Candace, you're in Florida, so
every time. Well, personally, he played like trash on Sunday. Which was to be expected, and that's fine because I'm a Carolina Panthers fan, so I was totally here for it. But no, I think he's awful. I think he's I'm just being honest. He's thrown more interceptions than any other quarterback since he started playing in NFL in 2015, I think. He's terrible. Like if they don't get rid of him and draft another quarterback, then he's just going to be a second string quarterback. Like he sucks.
I don't think there's an answer on that roster right now. You saw with Fitzmagic last year, which just blows my mind too. Now the Dolphins are in the same dilemma, not to go off, but you got Fitzmagic, Rosen there. But for Fitzmagic to be the starter last year, to go back and forth, Jameis, I think he does have a career in the NFL. There's a lot of potential with him, but I think there's so much in his head that is just. I think he carries himself like he's above people, and I think that's what catches up to him on the field. And granted, he threw for 400 yards, but he had 5 interceptions. That's kind of unheard of. But again, I know Jared and Rattlesnake, they'll have enough to plug. But to me, that there's no replacement on that roster right now. They're going to have to go after somebody, whether it be a draft pick or trade. But I doubt there's anyone really. What you talking about, Carolina? Cam Newton. There could be an opportunity for him to be moved. So you never know.
I mean, I like Cam because I don't know. I've always liked him for the Panthers, but I will say we have been winning since he hasn't been playing. So I know that's I feel like Panthers fans are a little torn right now.
Winning cures all, I guess. So
Yeah, exactly.
So what do you got? What do you clowns got to add?
Well, first of all, do you like Kyle Allen?
I mean, we've been winning with him.
You got to look at the fact he doesn't turn the ball over as much as Cam.
Everybody likes when you win, but personally, like I like Cam. I like Cam as a quarterback. I like how he is. Hearing him talk at a press conference is one of my favorite things. Like I'll even quote some things he said one time, I think. So I just like how raw he is, how really is. I think someone said something to him one time and he was like, about some picture on Instagram, and he was like, "But did you like it?" And they were like, "What?" And he was like, "Oh, so you're a ghost follower." And like, I don't know. I like his personality. I like his attitude. I usually like seeing him on the field, but again, like winning speaks volumes. So there you go.
Well, Kyle Allen didn't win for shit when he was playing for University of Houston. So I
love the tie. The ties here are beautiful.
Well, and too, it's like, I mean, you got to think like Christian McCaffrey is killing it. He's pretty much carrying that team right now, and the defense is carrying the offense. So
either way, we'll get. I know. I kind of strewed away based off of the Jameis. Let's stick with the topic for
I forgot we were even talking about him.
No.
That's right.
Is Jameis? Is he a part of the Tampa Bay franchise going forward? Is there a future? What is their future at quarterback?
I mean, if they want to win, probably not. Like, put simply. I mean, I don't know. What do you think, Jared?
Is Chris Sims still available?
All right, so ladies and gents, I'm going to go on a little victory lap here because back in March, I equated Jameis Winston's IQ to that of a potato. And every Tampa fan who worked for us went at my throat being an Eagles fan. Carson Wentz is injury prone. Listen, I was more right than ever on Sunday when that man equated 6 total turnovers against a good but not elite Panthers defense. No disrespect. They are a good defense, but like that, some of those picks were god awful. And Jameis Winston has been horrible his entire career. He makes occasional good plays look good on highlights. And if Bruce Arians, the pioneer of the vertical passing attack offense, cannot fix him, then nobody can. He's the prototype quarterback, or in theory he is, for Arians' offense. Big arm, mobile, not afraid of throwing interceptions. And basically, he has looked worse. I mean, yeah, they had a good game against the Rams, but I've been saying this for weeks. The Rams aren't making the playoffs, even with Jalen Ramsey. Basically, the Buccaneers have no hope, but lucky for them, guys, there's 4 good quarterbacks coming out in the draft this year. So that's what's going to happen. The Buccaneers, this, come up season, it's not happening. As long as they can hang on to Mike Evans, and Chris Godwin, and OJ Howard, they'll be fine. It's not going to happen right away. This is one of those seasons where they're just going to have to toss it in the dumpster like the last 25 out of 50 years they've been in existence. But honestly, you could either go Eason, Tua, Jake Fromm, Herbert up in Oregon. There's enough quarterbacks where you can fit somebody in there and have them develop with Arians and just just chuck the ball. It's not going to be pretty, but it's still better than what they're getting right now in the field. Jameis, he's gone after this year.
Absolutely. I think I definitely agree. So Rattlesnake, you got anything to add, or are we moving on?
Nope. Jared pretty much summed that up.
So I think I can see why we're getting into the old the NASCAR. We're breaking it down here.
Right,
obviously, this is where maybe some real knowledge gets dropped here. So we got NASCAR. Obviously, Rattlesnake. He runs our Chairgating podcast, our official NASCAR podcast. He's had some great guests on. There you go. I know. Actually, shameless plug, real quick. You got Natalie Decker on Friday, right?
Yeah, Friday. She's coming on.
Yeah, you'll have her on there. You've had Austin Dillon in the past. You've had a couple other. We've had some NASCAR wise. What do we have? Amber on a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
So
Amber was on.
In general, we've had a pretty good group. We've had a really good response growing our NASCAR, our racing. Candace, I think that's kind of how we came across you and kind of link our ties linked. In general, just jumping into it, Talladega last week. I'm sure, Candace, were you able to watch, or at least tune into here and there, or at least follow it up a little bit?
Yeah, I was ready for it to go on Sunday, so it put a little damper on my Monday plans. Couldn't really tune in that much. I obviously read a little bit about it, and I know a lot of people that were there, talked to them. Obviously, I follow it, so I caught up a little bit with everything that was going on, but it always sucks when it gets pushed to Monday, that's for sure.
So overall, obviously we had Ryan Blaney was the winner. A lot of controversy in the race. A lot of crashes. What is that? A 2.66 mile track, essentially, or something like that. If I'm looking at it right. So those cars running wide open. Seems like there's always a recipe for disaster at some point. So your takes from that race. And then we'll talk a little bit about the chase, going forward.
Whose takes? My takes, or
either you or Candace, either or, because I know Jared's got nothing to say. So
is Jeff Gordon still?
God, just stop it! You're embarrassing yourself.
Listen. I tried to
lie for Jeff Gordon. I'm confused.
The Rainbow Warrior. That makes sense.
It was an incredible race. I mean, everybody's always going to be divisive, but Talladega always produces. It's a fun race to watch. Yeah, there's definitely wrecks, and that's unfortunate for the guys that are up front towards the end. But it is what it is. I mean, I guess it's not technically plate racing anymore because they don't have restrictor plates. But it's still super speedway. It's going to be tight packs, and when you're getting towards the end there and people are, making hard runs for the finish, it's bound to happen. And this was one of the biggest wrecks. I mean, I've seen it in a long time. Car completely went airborne. So, it was unfortunate. Everybody was fine, though. That's the most amazing part about these cars.
That's the advancements we've made since Dale Earnart, unfortunately.
Yeah, and that's what he said when he got out. He was like, you see a fat guy crawling out of the car, like that's what he said about himself. He was like, that's just a testament to these cars and how incredible they are. He's like, I just, flipped through the air and I'm crawling out of this car just fine.
What, didn't he say he'd rather flip than hit a wall?
Yeah. Yeah, he was like, you're just flying through the air. He's like, I'd rather that than hit the wall, which, I mean, he's got a point. If you land.
It's true, yeah.
It's like, I'm fine.
Yeah, no, it was incredible. Everybody, of course, was like, when is Ricky Stenhouse going to wreck somebody? And right at the end, with 7 laps to go,
boom,
of course,
yeah.
Holmes right up on him. Ricky Stenhouse once again.
I think he said that in his interview. He was like, oh, I don't even know how it happened. He was like, well, Ricky was there.
Yeah. I mean, it's bound to happen. No, it was an incredible race, though, and I'm happy, for Ryan Blaney to get that win because, I like Ryan Blaney, obviously, from my facial hair. For those who don't understand, he had a mustache. But he's a good driver. Yeah, he's a good young driver, and I'm happy, that he got the win, even if it was unfortunate that it had to come from a wreck. But overall, really entertaining race.
Candace, you kind of agree. I mean, based off of what you've read, what you've followed on it, I know you've pretty much you've been at every track, haven't you, from your previous or past lives, I guess essentially. So where does based off this race or just Talladega in general rank on your kind of tracks that you've visited?
Yeah, I've been to every track but Vegas, which is kind of weird. But I heard it's nothing to write home about, so I guess I'm fine.
I think you're in Vegas like every other weekend, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm in Vegas. It's funny because I'm in Vegas for everything else for work, and I never worked that race. They used to not do a hospitality at it at all. But Talladega definitely ranks in my top 3 for sure. Talladega is always a really fun race to be at. The crowd's always great. The infield, always wonderful. There's always a huge party. That's where everyone gets down. Yeah, I mean, Talladega, there's obviously going to be a lot of wrecks. Like he said, it's going to be like a really tight, packed race the entire time. I mean, leads get thrown around the whole time. I mean, pretty much you're going to see more wrecking than racing. But you have to expect that at any super speedway like that in Daytona. But yeah, I mean, I'm glad that Ryan Blaney won, going into it. When you have the rain delays, it's so funny because I feel like anytime there's a rain delay and you have the qualifying and everything that day and they have to end up racing the next day, I feel like it completely throws everything off. But it was really cool to see like what was like a 7,000th of a second win it in, like a 007 or something like.
Yeah, one of the closest.
Yeah. So that it's always cool to see that happen. Yeah. So I mean, going into it, I know I was reading about it or watching everything, and like on Sunday, like all the Hendricks guys are right up there up front, and I think Denny had like one of the highest lap times, like 2:05 or something crazy, but then his engine blew. So you just never know. I mean, I feel like Talladega always has surprises, and yeah, I mean, I was listening to an interview that Alex Bowman did, and he was like, oh, I take like full responsibility for that wreck. I guess he blocked Logano right there, and everybody was in the pack, and then like you said, the whole car went airborne. But it is crazy how it flipped just like right back over on its side. But even when Austin Dillon wrecked in Daytona like years ago, when they like had the rain delays pretty much all day and they raced like really late into the night, I think it was like 2 a.m. or something crazy like that, and he went up into the fences and everything. It's just crazy how the technology's come along and how awesome those cars are now. The guys can just like walk out and it's like, oh, not a big deal. I just went airborne at 200 miles an hour, but I'm going to go have some dinner now, super, super nonchalant, but it's always.
Yeah, I was watching that at work and I had it on my computer and I don't think my manager knew I was watching the race and the wreck happens and I stand up and I go, oh shit. And I just scream it. And he was like, what? And I'm like,
I just landed that account.
Yeah. I was like, whoops. Yeah, I gave that one away. Yeah.
Yeah, I was watching it and I was like, holy shit, but it just landed like perfectly flat.
Yeah. By the way, I gotta ask, because you said Dega would be in your top 3. What are your top 3 tracks?
Oh, everybody asked me that, and I feel like I don't even pick it because of the race. I pick it for more or less the atmosphere.
The party.
Yeah, the atmosphere and the fans. And Bristol would still have to be my number 1 because that was my very first race. And just everyone in Bristol, I feel like makes you feel like at home. And it's funny, actually, I ran into Bristol fans later in life, or like nothing to do with NASCAR, and they was coming to me and be like, "Hey, I met you a few years ago at Bristol," and I was like, "Okay, that's cool." I've ran into the most NASCAR fans randomly on the street. I feel like that even like you have the race in Michigan. I feel like a lot of Canadians, which is kind of weird, actually come down to that race too. But I would say I love Bristol. It's a short track. I really like it because it's just so loud. It's in the Coliseum and like. You can go like sit in the suites or like pretty much anywhere. Like I say like, Talladega and Daytona, like watching the races are really cool because that's where you have all the wrecks. But anywhere you are in the infield or anywhere you are like standing on a bus or, you can never see like what's going on. You hear it's nice because it's more quiet. You can actually have a conversation with someone during the race. And
exactly.
Then wait for the cars to go back around again. But it just kind of sucks because all of a sudden you'll see a caution and you're like, oh my God, what happened? You have no idea what happened. So anywhere on the track, you never really know what's going on at that time. So that's another reason I really like Bristol. But again, Bristol, Talladega because of the infield. I don't know. I mean, I really like Michigan is a good one, Texas. And I mean, Miami, it's the last race of the season. And then Dover, it's funny, I actually saw Dover posted something the other day. I really like how they have the walkover bridge. So when you're coming over from the infield, you can, go into the cars, you can film underneath. That's pretty cool too. I feel like each track has their quirk on like what you like. And, I mean, then again, I like Watkins Glen and, Sonoma, but.
So here you talk about Michigan. So here's your official belly up invite. We are next year's race. I think it's June 6th, 7th, that weekend, whatever it is. We're actually having like our first like big company meeting. We're gonna have everybody there. So if you don't have plans or whatever, I know you're probably booked up for the next 10 years or whatever. But if you don't have plans and you want to frequent a race, it'd be awesome to have you out there and meet up with everybody. But just in general, keep that in mind if that's one of yours. But I was thinking while you were talking, I remember when I originally talked to you, I think it was you told me a story. Tell these guys real quick, and then we can move on to the next topic. Was it Ryan Newman or somebody that you were talking about? They were talking about winning the pole, and he was and they were all giving you a hard time, like about see that pole over there, and was it Reven Newman or something like that? Or I don't even know.
It was Denny Hamlin.
Hamlin. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Damn.
It was my very first race. I didn't even know who like any of them were or anything, and we were all just hanging out after the race. We were all in the infield, and somebody had to bring us back on one of the golf carts. We're all standing over there talking to them, and I was like, so yeah, this is my first race. Like I don't know much about NASCAR. Like why don't y'all tell me what's going on, And they're like, oh well, this guy's on the pole, and I was like, huh? Like what? What kind of pole, And
Jared,
they literally.
I actually know what that is. That's why it's funny.
They walk out of the bus. They're like, come here, I'll show you. And so there's like a big group of us. So it was so embarrassing. I had no idea what they were talking about. It was like 30 people, and me being the only one that didn't know what the hell they were talking about. They're like, you don't know what the pole is? I was like, no. And they're like, all right, come here. So we walk out of the bus. They open the door, and they're like, you see that thing right there? And I was like, oh, so you're like a spotter. And he was like, yep. So
Denny Hamlin.
Next day during the race.
I gotta ask too, right before we move on, because I just had Amber on. Did you watch Racing Wives?
You totally butchered her last name.
Yeah, I watched every episode. Yeah.
Okay. So is there actually like some kind of divide between like the wives and the monster?
Yeah, I asked her that
Absolutely.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, and I love how organic Mariel is with it too. I mean, Whitney as well. They're both very organic. Well, like I was telling him, I worked Whitney. She worked her very first race for us at Bristol. Whitney and I were friends, and I was like, we needed an extra girl that weekend. I was like, oh, you really need to book this girl. Like I know her. She cheers for the Titans, and so that's how Whitney started working. And
oh wow.
So I was friends with them it's from the very get-go. And then Whitney brought Mariel to a race with her. I think it was Kentucky that she brought Mariel with her, and that's when she met Carrie with Monster, and then that led on to her working for Monster as well. So I worked all the races with them, traveled with them, was super close with all them. And it very much so, when I first started working, I was the very first Monster girl to work for a NASCAR race, and the wives did not take to me very well at first, like at all. And the idea, what I was telling him, this is what happened in Michigan. The whole idea, the coming of like Miss Monster Energy for NASCAR is Monster was really trying to fit in with NASCAR. We just didn't fit in. Like we were just so like not the typical conservative type. And I remember like I would try to be like so nice, like Coach Gibbs, and everybody would be like, hey, like what's up? And it was literally like everyone thought I was gonna like attack
you know what's funny, and I always thought this was interesting too, is I think y'all actually do fit in, but with the NASCAR fans and community, not with everybody making all the money off NASCAR.
The owners,
you know what I mean?
Big wigs. Yeah.
You go to the parties, in the infield, and like I think everybody's cool with that, but it's like these conservative, kind of uptight NASCAR owners, wives, drivers. I don't know. It's just unfortunate that it's like that.
We asked Amber too about that whole part of the episode where she was at that big whatever, and she took that shot. And she said, listen, she goes, obviously TV. She goes, yeah, it was. She goes, but literally, it was a shot of rosé, right? It was just a little rosé. The bartender just said, she's like, yeah, I'm around all these people. Of course, I want to loosen up. And she said it was just like, so.
And Kyle Busch like tabs on her. And I was like, man, if this was back in the day with like Dale Earnhardt, he would have been taking shots at the bar, smoking a cig. Yeah, just like I'm like that's what NASCAR needs again. That's all I'm saying. When people have that kind of attitude, that's not what NASCAR fans want.
No, it's very, very much like that. Like I remember one time I was, this is when, again, they were just coming out with the whole Miss NASCAR thing. And the only reason they did it, they were like, well, they have Miss Coors Light, they have Miss Sprint Cup. I guess we'll just like make you Miss NASCAR and they'll like you if we put you in a fire suit. They just everyone in NASCAR, they're like, okay, well, like no one likes you, so we're gonna put you in a covered up outfit and maybe they'll like you. So I was like, okay, like sure, whatever, let's do it. So the very first, it was in Fontana that we did a dinner one time, and this is when Monster had merged with Coca-Cola, and they were like, you're gonna come to this dinner. And I'm like, okay, all right, I got this. Denny was racing for us. That's when Kyle was hurt, and that's when we were on Xfinity. And so Denny was racing for us that weekend. And so he was there, and a few other people that I knew were there with Monster. But it was all like Coke execs, all the Gibbs people, like the whole team, like Toyota was there and everybody at the time. And everyone is going around at this dinner, and it's literally like a room of like 50 people around this dinner table. And everyone has to stand up and like, oh, hi, like I'm such and such, like I'm the president of like this Daytona Speedway. And, like whoever they are like, I'm the VP for sports marketing for Monster Energy. And then they come to me and I'm like, hi guys, I'm a Monster girl. I'm your new Miss Monster Energy for NASCAR. And they were just all like, looking at me like, who is this?
Oh, that's so sad.
But now look at who gets the last laugh at this point. Monster Energy.
Yeah.
So moving on real quick, we'll stick with the theme. So Jared will be quiet.
Jared's about to kill himself because he has to say something.
I'm actually learning something about NASCAR right now. So I'm actually enjoying this a little bit because I have not paid attention for 5 years.
So
like I'm trying to get back into it.
Yeah, right. You're not trying. You're just saying it right now.
Oh, seriously?
Just she's on here, and he's like,
yeah.
I'm the biggest NASCAR fan ever.
So you guys are gonna have to correct me if I'm wrong. I pulled this up. So based off the points right now, it's funny because I went to different websites and they had different standings. So I just said, why didn't I just go to NASCAR's website? Whatever. So right now it looks like is Hamlin your leader in points? Hamlin, Truex, Kyle Busch, Harvick, and Keselowski, your top five. I think that's what it is. I know Rattlesnake will check it because I had two different ones.
Now
but
I'm like, is it?
He's like, how?
I think, and if I read this right, pretty much your 1 through 6, they're not even separated by more than 40 points. So a lot can happen. at this point, Jimmy's my driver, so I got no dog in this race. My buddy Brandon Harder is their. Well, actually, I went to high school with him. He's Jimmy's gas guy, so
really?
I definitely have a soft spot for them. They haven't had a good season, but I believe that's your top 5. So obviously, top 5, it doesn't mean those are going to be your winners, but if you guys break it down with the finish of the season. Do you have a pick? Who do you think is going to take it by the end of the season? Candace, can you say? I know, I mean, not that it really matters one way or another. Not that you have a favorite, but I mean, who do you see coming out this season as your winner?
Well, I mean, you just never know. Like going into Kansas, they're going to eliminate 4 people right off the bat, and in my opinion, I think Alex Bowman's gone. Clint Boyer's going to be gone for sure. Clint Boyer, I don't know. He might surprise us. Kansas is his home track, but he never does good there.
Right.
So, I don't know why. Usually the home tracks, they dominate, but he just doesn't. William Byron, he's out. He's too young. I just don't really see him making it to the finals, but we'll see. And Chase Elliott, I don't really see. I want him to do really, really, really well, but I just don't see that happening either. I don't know who's going to win. Even I literally feel like Miami is just so up in the air. Or Homestead is so up in the air. You really never know. Even at the race, you just have no idea. I feel like it's always just you're throwing something like a curveball right at the end. I definitely think Hamlin will be up there. You can never, ever count Kyle Busch out. As much as, a lot of people don't really like him. I'm not going to give my opinion on that, but he's
clearly that just gives your opinion.
He's a but he's a great race car driver. I never said he was not a good driver. He's awesome race car driver. So Kyle Busch for sure. Kevin Harvick. I know Rodney Childers really well, and I know that whole team. And I've always loved them, and they always do good. They're just consistent all around the board all the time. Martin Truex Jr. Former champ. Let's see. Definitely Hamlin will be up there. Yeah, Logano. You can never count him out too. He just does good. I feel like he just has a smile on his face. He's just always and he just wins and does great. So that's what I think. Logano, Hamlin, Harvick, Kyle Busch.
So we'll skip over Jared because I'm sure, unless you'd like to add anything.
All I remember is Logano's from my home state. That's all I remember.
That's right. He is. Yeah. So that was impressive. Clearly you were watching the races while you were there.
That's what she does, yeah.
Yeah, I was oh shit, okay. So she knows what she's talking about. Yeah, pretty much. I would say exactly right on the ones that are going to be eliminated after Kansas, except Chase is going to win at Kansas.
You think so?
Yeah, he's good at Kansas. I've seen him win at Kansas. I think he's going to sneak out with a win, and Logano is actually going to get dropped out because he would be the next lowest in points. And I know it's hard to believe. He just won last year.
I would love that to happen. But.
Yeah, my wife's a huge Chase Elliott fan, so I'm sure she'd be happy too. But, yeah, I'm surprised. I thought Logano might be doing better. But when it comes to the Final Four, I would say I think Hamlin's a good pick. He's having a career best. He might even win it.
I hope he does. I remember a few years ago, I think it was 2014. I'd be wrong. He almost won right there at the end. And we were pulling so hard. I remember we were all at the after party after, and I felt so bad. They had this huge party after, and he just sat there with his water the entire time. And I was like, damn, I feel so bad. He was so bummed out. So ever since then, I've been wanting him to get a championship.
And then the last of the 4, I think, might be Keselowski. I think he's going to sneak in.
5 right now, so yeah, so absolutely. So all right, so what we do now, we've hit all of our topics real quick, Candace, and you don't have to put anybody on blast, you don't have to say any names, but I know your Candace Harbin is your Twitter and your Instagram account, I believe. I know you're very heavy on the Instagram more so than Twitter. So when you were doing what you're doing, even now, have you had potential up and coming drivers slide in your DMs and stuff like that?
Oh, for sure.
You don't You don't have to-
Oh shit!
I mean, I would love for you to call them out, but I know
Not
you
just
know,
not just
but-
drivers. Not just
Well, I'm
drivers.
sure everybody in general,
Every
but
sport.
I mean,
Every sport.
really, is there anybody you want to?
What about?
I want to call somebody else so bad right now, but I'm not going to do it.
Oh, come on!
Oh, come on.
We're just a little,
I
you know.
just split up with somebody, and I want to call them out, but I'm not going to do it. That's just me being bitter.
Oh, jeez. You know, we
You
could have
can't do
dropped
that,
this
'cause
episode.
It's
and it
not
would've been-
anyone. It's not anyone in any type of racing.
Well, yeah, you said any sport. So what sport? Can you just narrow
I'm
that down?
thinking
It's
Say
got to
the
be
sport?
basketball. You've been basketball. You've been in a
Shoot
lot of
south
basketball
football.
games.
What? What?
Yeah, you've been in a lot of basketball games, haven't you? Oh, jeez, OP,
Oh,
gosh.
come on. Hey, I got a question. You said you're from South Carolina, right?
Mhm.
Where in South Carolina are you from?
Green. Well, I'm from Anderson, but no one ever knows where that is, so I just say Greenville.
Yeah, my parents live in Myrtle. And
Oh, nice. Everyone, anytime I say South Carolina, people are like, "Oh, dirty Myrtle."
Yeah. Yep. That's where my parents decided to retire.
My mom's from Charleston, so I mean, like nobody talks about that shit either. So
No, but everyone does that too. They either say Myrtle Beach or Charleston.
or Charleston. Yeah, Hilton Head.
I was supposed to move down there like a month ago, and I passed up on a shot at that. So
Oh, you're an idiot.
Yeah.
I mean, I had no job down there. I just had a $350 rent apartment that I could have moved into. That was about
I
it.
will say I do love Greenville though. Greenville's like a underrated place, honestly. It's a lot of fun. They got a cool nightlife area. They got the river right there. It's really pretty.
My sister and I actually had dinner at Sobeys on the water, like just a couple nights ago. There, it was nice to be back. I haven't honestly been when I only really make it here during like I'm actually here right now. I'm in South Carolina.
Awesome.
Yeah, my mom wanted to like sit in here. I was like, you can't sit in here. Get out.
Just bring them all in.
Yeah, I want your mom on the podcast.
family in.
No, she would have loved to have been in here, but no. I was like, you're distracting me, or she would have been like interjecting her opinion. My mom is that type of person. She went to Bristol this year, so she thinks she's like NASCAR now. So she would be like, I mean, she's obviously been to other races, but I know she would definitely be like, oh, well, you forgot about that once. She would definitely be like chiming in. So I was like, you can't be in there.
Were you interested in NASCAR before you started working there?
No, I didn't know anything about NASCAR.
Just because I know it's big in your area, so I wasn't sure.
Yeah, it's funny. When I first started working for Monster, I started working for Supercross, and I just was working a bunch of like different events for them, and we weren't even in NASCAR at all. And then the very first race, I just got booked for it because it was in Bristol and it was close to like where my family was from. And they were just like, they tried to like like they would never allow me to work any of the music things because they said I wasn't grungy enough for the music world, or I wasn't rocker girl enough. I'm like, okay, I can put some pink stuff in my hair. Like, I don't know what you guys want me to do. Like, I can do this. Like, I mean, so they were like, we need you to work NASCAR because you're Southern and you can relate to all the NASCAR fans. Like, and you know about the sport. I said, I don't know anything about NASCAR. I just know they go around in a circle. Like, what? And I was like, my dad was a big Earnhardt fan. That's all I could tell you is that he was trying
Everybody, yes.
all that happened. But so yeah, then they just put me at the sport. And again, like I said, I didn't, that's when the pole thing happened. I didn't know anything about it. And then they just started booking me for all these races. And I was like, well, all the fans would be talking to me, and I wanted to develop a rapport with them, and I wanted to be able to talk to them about it. And I knew Monster was really trying to get into the sport. So I was like, maybe I should start paying attention to the races. And everyone was like, no one would talk to me with their little headphones in, and they would have their little things. And I'd be like, okay, I'm going to get on like a little keypad and find out what's going on. So I would listen in to what was going on. And yeah. So then I kind of got the passion for it a little bit.
So can I tell you guys how disappointed I am in you as far as letting Candace off the hook and not dropping a name of somebody that slid into her DMs?
I will say it, but you cannot air it.
All right, so Carter's got to edit the shit out, basically.
That's like the best part.
You can drop it after we're done recording.
All right, that's fair.
You see the red light
we'll
go away, and then you can yell at Mike if he somehow.
I don't even know if you can see it, but I ain't gonna do that. Whatever. Although that's like the difference between like 1,000 views and 1,000,000 views, so whatever. But no.
Let's just cut out the whole part where I even say I want to drop someone's name.
You're fine.
No,
so
we
what
gotta
we'll
keep
do
that
now.
part.
Yeah. Look at get that in there. There you go. So
Do you have a
what
Pomeranian?
we'll do now is
Yeah.
Oh my God, I do too. She's in the other room.
What you doing?
So what we'll do now is we're gonna finish the show here. So Jared will have a little bit to say. So we'll end with you, Candace. Really, what we like to do is just go around the room, kind of talk whatever is trending right now. Anything you want to plug? Anything just in general. We appreciate you being a part of our show and a friend to our company. So we'll start with either Jared or Rattlesnake here. So I know Jared, you probably are you. Are you sure you're not chomping at the bit to say anything?
He's got to keep talking. It's going to keep pumping up his ego a little bit. Escobar.
I don't need to pump it up. I know how good I am. I would say go Astros. We're going to win the World Series. You know, got my Stros hat, got my Stros beer. I'm ready to go, even though the race is postponed.
That's all. That's it. That's all you got.
That's pretty much it. Yeah, I mean, I talked.
No chair game, no belly up racing.
If people that are watching this and listening don't already know that I'm the host of Chairgating, then I don't know what else to do at this point.
The second best podcast.
Where did Chairgating come from? I need to know the backstory.
All right, so it's kind of
Honestly, it's like television.
Yes.
NASCAR fans are in
right. So yeah. So it was from It's Always Sunny when they were sitting in their chairs drinking for the Eagles game or whatever. But also my very first episode, my co-host, my best friend, he's in the Air Force, and we had some people come on from other parts of the military, and they were making fun of him, saying Chair Force. And it just kind of turned into Chairgating.
I like it.
Yeah, it's really weird. I don't know, but I was like, it kind of sounds cool. So yeah, that's it. And I'm lazy. I sit in my chair a lot.
I feel that.
Touche. So Jared, what do you got?
I actually have to admit I was wrong about something. So this is going to be a first for me. So at the beginning of the year, I am a big Miami Hurricanes fan, as Rattlesnake likes to rip me about every time I come on his podcast.
No.
And
he's born and raised in Miami, so it makes perfect sense.
Shut up. I was too poor to go to Miami. Shut up. Basically, I said Jared Williams is going to be the quarterback that was going to blow everyone away this year, and I have to admit I was wrong. My boy, who I wrote many articles about last year, N'Kosi Perry, is now 2-0. So I was right in the article I wrote last November, but it's right this year as he beat number 20 Virginia on Friday. And that was probably the first time in 3 months I'd actually been happy to watch a Hurricanes game. So I'll admit I was wrong. Williams sucks. He needs another 2 years in the incubator before he can start a football game. But by the way, check out Corner Booth Podcast. You know, my host Kevin and Savannah. They try to keep me in line as much as possible. But
wow, I like it, man. This has been short. This has been on point. We don't get this from Jared. You must be drinking water, so is that what's in there? So Candace, before we head out, what you got anything to mention, talk about, anything in general?
No, not really. I don't really. I mean, I have a lot going on, but it's just the same old. I'll be at Magic Game next week.
There you go. We got tomorrow night. We have two from our company will be at the Magic Game covering the Magic Game. So or I guess I shouldn't say the Magic Game. They'll be the Magic, but the Heat are in town, so that's what I'm thinking. So they'll be there. So that's kind of nice. So, in general, again, from Belly Up, these guys here, we appreciate you being a part of it. Again, Candace Harbin, check her out on Instagram, Twitter. Before we go, right now, go check out Belly Up Sports. Obviously, our website, our Twitter, Instagram right now for the whole month of October with the breast cancer awareness. Any of our shirts, whether it be T-shirts, hoodies, stuff like that, as far as the breast cancer awareness design, 50% of all proceeds will actually go to the Susan G. Komen Fund, as well as our printing company, Design Tree. So big shout out to Design Tree. They're matching our donation. So all month long for October, 50% of our proceeds as well as their match will go to that. We'll make one big payout at the end of the month. So Again, Candace, thank you for coming on. Looking forward
for having me. It's been fun.
Forward to stopping recording to see who you're going to put on blast, and even though you want us to cut that out, so no, to Chairgating, to Corner Booth, Candace Harbin, former Miss Monster Energy NASCAR, current model, host, actress, a little bit of everything. Candace, thanks for being a part of our company, a repeat part of our company. So thank you.
Thank you.